Hallo.
Hallo, hallo. Den kommer Biljana inn, altså.
Jeg rakk det akkurat der. Vi satt nede på brygga. Det er så varmt her, vet du, så det er helt sjukt alt sammen.
Okay, super. I need to start. So, welcome to this module number 3 of the Spera Impact Standard Education Program. This module explores how compliance mechanisms are integrated directly into the life cycle of a smart credit. Our goal is to transition from retroactive validation to programmatic issuance, ensuring compliance with all layers of climate finance governance, including the Paris Agreement Article 6, reporting directives like CSRD, the UNFCCC's Enhanced Transparency Framework, and ICAO's CORSIA for aviation, just as examples. I would say that the fact that we are compliance native when we issue credits, it's the really breakthrough of the Spera Impact Standard. We're having a shift in trust models, and what you should have in mind under this module is that what would it mean compliance-wise that we have designed compliance into the system rather than have to audit compliance back after like the credit has been issued. The key technical point in this module is that the smart credits carry the letter of approval and the corresponding adjustment at issuance. We have sovereign export and reporting. It's automated on the platforms, and our architecture enables instant registry integration. See how I can, let me see here. So these are the things we're going through. We will look at the role of compliance in the new carbon economy. We'll look at the ARPA framework, how we're aligned with Article 6.2 and 6.4 of the Paris Agreement, how we're integrating with the Paris Agreement crediting mechanism, the enhanced transparency and the BTR reporting from UNFCCC, CORSIA readiness, also like how we're ready and compliant or are compatible with the VCMI's silver and gold claims. VCMI is, as you have heard on one of the prior modules, the operating sort of version for the core carbon principles. We will go through SDBTI and Scope 3 reporting linkage, how this is governed. We'll look at some real world examples, and we have some checks and tests, and then the wrap up and the next model. So this is what we're going through today. I have had a lot of work, like how to make everybody really understand the process and the compliance, because it's key in our models, that the global compliance that we integrate with the key global compliance frameworks. And we have to have the possibility to trace a project's journey from its design till the smart credit are issued, and actually further on, actually for 40 years until it's retired. It's also important in this model that you explore how our smart credits meet the different VCMI, SPTI, and PACM standards. So just to walk you through all the steps of our smart credits, it starts with a project design, or somebody who says, well, we want to make a nature-based project, to make carbon credits or biodiversity credits. And it also starts with the design of the project. We have templates for what we require when this is to be made into application. And one of the most important steps on that way is that we need to have the letter approval, and we have to have considered the corresponding adjustment mechanisms, and this has to be hashed already before this project design comes into the application phase. When we have got the application, the first thing is that is being done is that we validate the application based on our requirements. When everything is in place based on what we require, then it goes for approval of the Titans of Change Advisory Board. When it's approved by the Titans of Change or rejected, if it's rejected, it goes back. If it's approved, then we have the Titans of Change have already then approved this project for rating by either B0 or Silvera. This takes normally 6 to 8 weeks. When we get the rating from B0 or Silvera, it could be that this is being sent back to even back to the project design phase, but we have implemented all the requirements from both B0 and Silvera into our design documents and the application. So normally this should go through. And what we have designed is that this should be the project that are being approved and have all the information and everything we have said we need for application should make the project liable for AA or higher, meaning AAA rating from both B0 and Silvera. There can, of course, be things that we haven't considered, but since this is being done prior to implementation, prior to the issuance of the credits, there's time to even adjust the project on the way before we issue the smart credits. When we have got the rating back from B0 and Silvera, then we will make a stamp where we say this project is co-finance ready and it's also ERPA ready. So ERPA is Emission Reduction Purchase Agreement developed by the World Bank, and we will come back to this later, but we have now actually developed this into a smart contract, so we call it the Smart ERPA. After we have had this co-finance or an ERPA readiness, that's when we are actually able to start onboarding investors into the projects. If we're to do the financing ourselves, it will be quite a short road to implementation. If there's projects that we need to onboard investors for, that could take some more time. And this is also when we do the agreements with the project, we do the final implementation agreements, and it is different from plant to plant, from location to location, how long this implementation even will take before it can start. If you look, for example, at mahogany planting, these trees need 3 months in a nursery prior to planting. And in Kenya, there are 2 main seasons, one in the spring and one in the fall. In Uganda, you can plant more or less all year round. If you then come to the mangrove, you need to pick the seeds that are to be planted, and it has to be planted also in different rounds in the year or months in the year. When we start the implementation or planting, that's when we start also operating our zero knowledge MRV system, where we do the validation and the certification. And the first, as I mentioned in module 2, is that we have the first picture of the planted tree is being taken, and that's then put on the blockchain. When we have the first 3 pictures with different users, different timestamps, and over a period that can range from 2 to 6 months, depending on how fast it grows and how fast you see if a tree survives or not. You have the first picture is when we make the claim, then it's validated, and then it's third-party certified. When we have the third-party certification in the MRV system, that's when the smart credit is issued. This is then done then this credit moves from the MRV system to our registry, which is the ECR, that issues the credit. When it has been issued, we also do a sovereign node export, meaning we will, for example, in Kenya, then when we have issued this smart credits, send this knowledge into the national body of Kenya, so they know that now the tree has been planted, it has been verified, validated, and certified. And they then register this in their national node. When we have done this export, then we also sorry, do the export to our marketplace, which is the Spera cloud. And after this we have this yearly recertification, and at some time out in space, the smart credits are retired. Or when we do the yearly recertification, we retire part of the credits for each tree based on how much biomass there are and how much carbon then has been absorbed to make this biomass. So as you understand, this is a long road. It's a lot of steps, and this is how real compliance looks like. So why must compliance be built in and not bolted on? If you look at the legacy VCMs, compliance is post hoc after issuance. What we do is that we embed compliance from the start. For example, by requiring a sovereign letter of acceptance and corresponding adjustments before issuance. We have done the DAO approval, we have the MRV system, which ensures audit-proof integrity. And if you look to how it has been up to now, there's a lot of different projects that has failed. For example, Shell had a nature-based project in Kenya, but they didn't report it, or they reported phantom credits to the national body of Kenya. And I guess all of you have heard about the Kariba Red Plus project, which is really controversy. If you haven't heard about it, you should look to Bloomberg, for example. Based on all these failures, buyers, auditors, and host countries are now demanding pre-approved integrity. And if you look at the table on the bottom, you see some features. You see how the legacy VCM model is, and you see our module. So you see from post issuance, so after issuance, to before issuance. You have ex post review, we have DAO validation, trust basis reputational, but our is programmable, and compliance layers are external add-ons, but for us it's built in by design. When we then go over to the ARPA contract, which is in the legacy world, it's paper-based or maybe a PDF file. Ex post review, there's it's normally not put into the registry. If it's a link to that, it's manual or separate, and the transparency is in an easy way opaque. For our part, this Spera Impact Standard Smart ARPA is SID validated and IPFS located, so it's on the interplanetary file system, so it's digital. We do pre-issuance quorum validation. It's embedded in the registry and on our market platform, and it's machinable, auditable metadata. So as you see, we upgrade this traditional ARPA contracts, which was developed by the World Bank, into smart ARPAs, facilitating them through the smart contract build. They are anchored with content identifiers and stored on IPF. They are legal, financial, and validated conditions and encoded into the smart contracts. The DAO must approve the letter of acceptance, the corresponding adjustment, and the MRE before issuance. And this ensures verifiable machine-readable contracts with no hidden clauses. No potential or opportunity for fraud or corruption in any way. If we then look at how this then looks under the Paris Agreement, Article 6, we deliver legal portability at issuance. Article 6.2 enables bilateral credit transfers via letter of approval and corresponding adjustments, while Article 6.4 enables centralized UN-verified credits, the Paris Agreement crediting mechanism. We are dual compliant. There's no retroactive tagging. As I said now many times, the LUA and the CAs are there at issuance, not some post facto. We can avoid UN-registered bottlenecks via our sovereign sync to the sovereign nodes. And our smart credits are plug and play for all the different sort of standards and platforms we need to be connected to. If we then look at the Paris Agreement crediting mechanism under Article 6.4, it's a central UN crediting registry that we will, of course, then export to. We are fully compatible, but we don't depend on this registry. Because we are uniquely sovereign first. So host countries have the control on issuance, not the UN gatekeeping. We create optionality because the credits can later be ported into PACA, or it can be set up that as soon as it's in the national or sovereign node, it's at once also exported into the packet. Sparx has a real-time sovereign registry sync and also credit export. When we go on to the enhanced transparency framework under the Paris Agreement, countries must submit BNL transparency reports, BTRs, with mitigation outcomes. Our smart credits are ETF native. There's no need for retroactive tagging or conversion. All the required fields in the ETF are already embedded in our smart credit at issuance. That's the LUA, that's the CA, and it's also ESG tags. We auto-generate XML or XBRL exports for national registries as well. And this is how we can streamline this. We can automate it. And actually, if we have a country that wants to or doesn't have this national node, we can develop the national node for them, like we're looking to do, for example, with Serbia. And then it will be fully integrated, two-way communication on the platform, on the blockchain. And this is sort of the way forward, I think, where all national registries should go. If we look at Corsair readiness, I guess all of you have been out flying, and then you normally are asked if you want to offset your flight. That's under the Corsia standards for aviation related to carbon offsets, set up by ICAO, which is the International Aviation Organization. Corsia, for those who really wants to know what it stands for, it's the Carbon Offsetting and Reduction Scheme for International Aviation. And it requires aviation sector offsets to meet the most stringent standards in the market. Many legacy credits have been rejected. We have solved this by embedding the LOA, the CA, the permanency scoring, and the geographical transparency at issuance. If this had been done, for example, with the Shell, the failed Shell project, it would have been rejected by Corsair because it didn't have or lacked a sovereign alignment. If the Shell project had been certified under our standard, it would have gone straight through. It could also, in other cases, maybe be a weak MRV, and it could be overcrediting. When we issue a smart credit, we include all this at issuance, so there's no way our credits won't be accepted by Corsair. So there, as it says, no risk for rejection post issuance, all conditions enforced before we are minting the credits. Meaning if we start going out to aviation companies, they actually don't have a lot of other choices. For normally what they have today is more or less greenwashing and not according to Corsair. There are some projects that has been Corsair approved. Our will be Corsair ready at issuance, meaning automatically approved. Going further on to the VCM claims, the Voluntary Carbon Market Integrity Council, which is based on the core carbon principles, they define tiers of credit use, silver, gold, and an emerging tier, which is sovereign contribution platinum. Silver requires the letter of approval and the SIA and transparency. The gold, in addition, require alignment with the NDS and equity safeguards, and the sovereign, they really don't have the full what it requires yet. But my take on this is that we will be ready for platinum from the start. When VCM are ready with the rules for the platinum level or the sovereign contribution level. So we are claim ready at issuance, no post vesting required. What we have started now is to approach VCMI to be approved ahead with our standard and our methodology. So when we start the first planting, these projects will be VCMI approved from at issuance, and this is what companies now are going towards, because if you don't have a VCMI approved project, then you will not stand any inspections related to, for example, greenwashing. How we build this into the smart credits is that we have a lot of meta tagging, which also enables buyers to filter, report, and verify. Going further on to also one of the entities that are out in the market, the SBTI and Scope 3. From supply chains and product use, often it accounts for over 70% or 75% of the total carbon footprint. There has been analysis of the 7,500 biggest European companies, and actually the average part that Scope 3 counted for was 85%. But this, of course, will differ from company to company. What SBTI as well as VCMI requires, they require verifiable Scope 3 reductions, not speculative offsets. And this is where our platforms, especially the MRV, comes in, and that we actually are to do yearly recertification based on actual biomass for every single tree. This also enabled buyer attributed smart credits linked to specific supply chains. We can verify emission reductions, equity and permanence scoring. We can add SBTI flags. We have the Scope 3 rules, the CCP. They are all supported at Issuance. What corporate buyers get, they get metadata for their ESG systems, which can be based on the global GRI reportings, or for Europe, the CSRD, and SEC for US, etc. They also get verified impact trails for auditors and investors, and they get a credible pathway to net zero. When we look at our DAO governance and sovereign oversight, it's a two-layer security model. The first layer is sovereign authority, where you have the LUA, the corresponding adjustments, and that we export to the national node. Then the second layer is our DAO, where we have the validator quorum. We have full audit trails and voting logic. So this is the dual layer trust system we use. For those who doesn't know what DAO stands for, it's a decentralized autonomous organization. This two-layer model ensures independent validation, procedural equity, and smart contract enforcement. It prevents risk from centralizing bottlenecks, corruption, and UN delays. All decisions, validation, dispute, updates are logged on-chain with public visibility. Everything is open. So if somebody comes and sends a report saying, well, there's something wrong here, this will be visible. And it will be also shown how this is solved. So we support Article 6 integrity, PACM interoperability, We support ethical governance. It's the Appendix 7 of the standard, and auditability by states, buyers, and third parties. The Environmental Credit Repository, ECR, or our registry, has compliance by code. It's our public cryptographically secured ledger for all smart credits and activities, any issues, recertification, and retirement. It records every key event with project metadata, validator votes, the different tags, snapshots, issuance transfers, and retirement logs. It's immutable, it's queryable, and it's machine readable with different formats. It replaces opaque registries with programmable trust infrastructure, and it's also fully exportable to the different reportings and the national inventory systems. We have a upcoming project with mangrove in Kenya. It's mangrove restoration in the coastal Kenya, north of Mombasa. It will be implemented by the Rural Foundation and Worldview International. The Rural Foundation is those who have developed the project, got the approvals, and the Worldview will come in with their key knowledge in how to plant and get a high survival rate. On this project, we will use the Smart ERPA and the DAO validator network. We will also use the validators from local communities. Pre-issuance, we have the LUA by Kenyan Ministry of Environment. We have put in or planned for some title no change filters for procedural equity. It passes all the thresholds we have for the MRV. It will be fully with the biodiversity, IoT sensors, on-the-ground apps, drones in the air, and satellites even before issuance, because we will use the satellite imageries to also make the dynamic baseline. So this is compliance ready under Article 6.2 for ITMO transfers. It's ETF aligned with BTR export, and it has VCMI gold compliant tags. We hope that we will be able to start planting already end of this year. Worst case, it will be planting early 2026, and it's not far away from our other Kenya project with Bedell Forestry, which also now is we will do early 2026. This interactive simulation, this is a part which will be on the education platform when this is up and running. We will make scenarios where you're part of the DAO validator team, reviewing, for example, agroforestry person in Uganda. Your task is to determine if it qualifies for smart credit issuance under our architecture, and the decisions points that will be used is there's a valid ERPA with the SID stored on IPFS. Did the type no change review pass procedural equity? Did the ministry issue a valid LUA? Is the data sufficient to confirm perms and co-benefits? Was it approved or rejected by the validator vote? If they were approved, has credit been minted and added to ECR? And where should the credits be exported to? This is being made interactive as a simulation when we have the learning platform up and running. What we're also now approaching is tokenization and programmable market access. If you have read the article that I published into our chat group, we are planning to tokenize from the start all smart credits, not just the documents. It will be stored on chain. It will be tracked via the content identifier and IPFS. And the token logic includes legal metadata as the LOA, the SA project ID, compliance flags, programmable conditions like escrow, expiry, buffers, credit insurance, retirement triggers. This enables us to have real-time ESG dashboard. It enables us for smart bond issuance. So meaning we could, for example, work with the Green Climate Fund or a government or the World Bank to issue smart bonds, smart green bonds. We can export this to DAO-based secondary marketplaces, and we can have country-specific crediting gatings via Sparex. Since greenwashing has high it's a high need for companies to not greenwash. This is how we prevent greenwashing, because it's engineered in response to breakdowns in trust across voluntary carbon markets. Greenwash is the result of unverifiable claims, delayed oversight, and lack of sovereign control. We prevent this through compliance at birth, not audit after sale. And the key integrity barriers is pre-issue validation, DAO-based validator oversight, immutable metadata, and algorithmic performance filters. So this is how we make sure that it's not possible to greenwash anything with our smart credits. So let's do a multiple choice. Let's do question number 1. What must happen before a smart credit can be minted under the Spera impact standard? Is it A, credit buyer retires it? Is it B, PACM registry assigned a serial number? Is it C, LUA and SA CA and validator approval and the ZK MRV? Or is it D, host country files NDC updates?
It's much to choose, but I think C maybe.
Yeah, that's correct. Will we allow credits to be issued before a project has host country approval? True or false?
I think it's not possible before country approval.
No, because we require the LUA approval prior to issuance.
It means country has to approve.
Each country has to approve prior to issuance, yes. And the third, your DAO validator group receives a mangrove restoration project proposal. It has Lua and ZK MRV threshold met, but the community consultation process is incomplete. What do you do?
Go back to the first step.
Huh?
But I mean, go back to the community job because everything starts from communities, isn't it?
Yeah, and one of the things that has to be in place before application is the free prior and consent. So without this consent, we will not approve the project for under our standard.
So then it go back to the project manager
Yeah.
managing. Yeah.
Then there are like missing things in the application, and we will actually discover and work on that prior to even sending it to the Titans of Change. So
The Titans of Change is internal.
Titans of Change is investors that have invested at
Titan.
has invested or are to invest at least 5 million euros into a project.
And the investor, yeah, okay.
So to wrap up this and Spera Impact as the compliance benchmark, I think we have more built in more compliance that even for credit sold under the EU ETS. I think, but I think I'm correcting what I'm saying. We set a new global bar for compliance grade environmental credits. Unlike legacy offset standards, we ensure legal recognition, scientific rigor, sovereign registry interoperability, and participatory equity, DAO validation FPIC, PMRV. We are designed to align with Article 6.2, Article 6.4, CORSIA, CSRD, SBTI, ICVSM, VCMI, and like 20, 30 others. So we are taking voluntary offsets to compliance native credits, and we're going from static documents to programmable infrastructure. This is sort of what is important to carry with you from this module. The next module, we will look at impact equity and co-benefits. We will explore how the Spera Impact Standard qualifies justice, inclusion, and biodiversity. We'll do a deep dive into the DAO validator roles. We will look into smart credit monetization and smart bonds. And we will look into simulating registry integration with ETF, PACAM, CDP, and CSRD. And if you want to reach out, it's hello@speraimpact.academy, and the LMS will be up at the academy /sys31 when it's operating, and we will also set up a Slack for that. So for this module, I'm finished. If you have any questions, please come with them. If not, I will stop the recording, and then we will do module 4 tomorrow evening. But tomorrow we will not start before 8:30 in the evening because I have some other meetings that I have to attend.
But I have one question, BA.
Yeah.
It's about the ERPA contract. Can the ERPA contract be written like that the customer have to buy, or they don't have to buy, such as the contract is doing now?
The ERPA standard is that there's a emission reduction purchase agreement, but we cannot tell like a buyer that you have to buy exactly this because it has to do with how much they actually need.
Yeah. Okay.
Any other questions?
Okay. No, actually, I just have a more general question, what I'm thinking during your presentation. If I can put in that